Patriots' fifth quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the field here at Gillette Stadium following this, down to the wire, 24-17 win with Bob Newmeyer, Bob Lobel here in the Patriots' fifth quarter, and unnecessary drama, I think, unnecessary drama, but drama nonetheless.
Well, when you have a porous defense in a secondary with, street free agents and guys, most Patriot fans have never heard of, Stone and Hawkins and these guys trying to defend against any team, let alone, the New Orleans Saints, who are not a good football team. It was a shame they let them back the way they did, but look, they made a couple extra plays, they pulled it out, they got the W. I don't think it's a game necessarily that Patriot fans can be, that thrilled about because they let a big lead slip away, and the New Orleans Saints made it a football game, and they had a chance knocking on the door, inside the 20-yard line.
One of the things that came out on Fox today, which you told me in the runway about the passing of Bill Belichick's father, so without a doubt, a game that's tinged in sadness, and obviously the team had to know going into this game, and with that in the background, there were some things late in the fourth quarter. Brady on offense going as deep as he did, as often as he did. You're saying, well, isn't it about controlling the game and about controlling the clock and all these things?
I think if you're talking about the last series, they knew New Orleans had 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, and they couldn't run the ball. They had to throw to get a first down to effectively kill the game, and they could never quite do that. This is the pass to Andre Davis spot that made it 21-7. That's our play of the game.
I thought there was a play before that, the Patrick pass that was a key third down pickup that enabled this play to happen. But in the final analysis, Lord knows they threw to Andre Davis deep enough today. They ought to connect on one of them.
Yeah, 21-7, then they made it 24-7, and then they went into kind of a little bit of a hang-on kind of defense. And then, they let them score, and then they scored again, and now you're in that kind of nail-biting situation where they get it back. Look, the Patriots are not a good defensive football team right now. We all know that. They have major holes in the secondary. We all know that.
Having said that, why would your offense put your defense in jeopardy by throwing the ball as long as they did in the last 2 series?
Because they knew they needed a first down to end the ball game. And if they connect on one of those passes, they figure that now New Orleans has got to use their timeouts. Now the 2-minute warning goes, and the game is effectively over. So, it didn't work. They had to kick it back, and then New Orleans just marched down the field, as many teams have done this year against this Patriot defense.
Okay, a win's a win. A win tinged obviously the saddest of the passing of Bill Belichick's father, Steve, last night. Let's go inside with Steve Burton and Scott Zolak, and let's see who else he has alongside. Gentlemen, yep, there's Steve Diassi right there.
Yeah, he's right here alongside me. Patriots end up winning this game. It shouldn't have been as close as it was, but I got to give Diassi credit because you called this victory a 7-point game.
Sometimes rains in the desert, though.
Yeah, sometimes it does, doesn't it?
Mostly because of the secondary of the Patriots, and you know that Aaron Brooks can have good days, but the fact is that the Patriots are a better team, but they still let teams like this stay in the game because of their secondary.
What do you guys think was the play of the game? In my opinion,
obviously
Andre
the pass to Davis. I thought they were able to run the ball effectively, which set up the play-action pass. Tom Brady threw 3 touchdowns today off of play-action, but I thought they called the game beautifully, whoever it was, whether it was Josh McDaniels or others, for 55 minutes. Then for some reason, last 5 minutes in the game, 3 consecutive timeouts, they try and hit a home run pass. All of a sudden, Andre Davis takes his time coming back. They're forced to call the timeout. Then they run the ball. Then the Saints use the timeout. And then next thing you know, Brady didn't like what he saw on third down. He had to call timeout again. We're sitting here for, 25 minminutes, and it took 1 minute off that clock to go. But you got to question the last 5 minutes, the way you call the game, trying to put teams away.
Well, here's the thing. Brady thought that it worked once.
Steve,
let's go deep again.
I know. It wasn't like they could not run the football today.
I didn't have as much problem with that call at the end, simply because play action had been working, and they were stacking the line, assuming the Patriots are going to run. Why not take a shot at it? But again,
3 times?
There were not 3 times basically, but there were some opportunities where they could have run a little bit more time off the clock.
Yeah, and both you guys are right. In my opinion, Heath Evans this guy is a football player. Okay, they stole him. They got him from Miami. He's earned.
I don't know if they stole him. I mean, he was on the market for a while.
Well, but it's a nice pickup.
It's a great pickup,
and that's my point. It's a nice pick. This guy comes in out of the blue.
He's a tough guy.
Yeah,
he's a tough guy that fits the mold, and it's exactly what you want. You want a guy that's north-south. You want a guy that holds onto the ball, has ball security, and doesn't is not worried about dancing in the backfield. Is just trying to get upfield. He's definitely solidified his place on this team.
And he's picking up the slack for Corey Dillon. I mean, Patrick Pass was back in the lineup today. He ran pretty well. You see some big plays, but this guy runs with
when they needed it. And that's the thing.
He runs with strength and power. This Heath Evans guy. I mean, he's tough to bring down.
He helped them get a first down right there at the end of the game. On offense, I thought they were clicking on all cylinders throughout good parts of this game. But you look at the defensive part of it; they were active up front. I thought Mike Vrabel had a great day today as far as tackling, being in the right place at the right time.
Not to mention his touchdown catch.
And give Richardson more credit for playing hurt, guys, because I had the binoculars on him. I watch him. In essence, he's kind of dragging that left leg. I mean, he's playing through some pain, and he's just a force out there because everybody else plays better.
Well, let's not give Heath Evans all this credit and not say what the offensive line's doing for him. It's a patchwork offensive line. They're doing a pretty good job against what is usually a very active New Orleans defense.
Yeah, they mixed it up front. That's one of the concerns coming into the game today, how often Tom Brady has been getting hit, not on sacks, but after just releasing the football, and I thought they did a pretty good job protecting him today.
We are waiting on Patriot head coach Bill Belichick. In the meantime, we'll go back outside to Bob Lobel. Bob?
All right, you guys, out here with Numi, player of the game. Any?
I like McGinnis on defense. I thought he was all over the field. I liked Deion Branch on offense. The tight end, Benjamin Watson, had a huge first half. I thought McGinnis, in my opinion, was the most effective player on the field.
Great minds, number 55. We'll be right back. You can vote for player of the game. Log on to UPN38.com, click on player of the game, and cast your vote. We're going for number 55, McGinnis, but that's only 2 votes.
Red Star Play of the Game is brought to you by Heineken. Heineken, it's all about the beer. Visit enjoyheinekenresponsibly.com.
Guests on New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter receive a gift certificate to Milton's, the store for men. At Milton's, you'll be as comfortable in their stores as you will be in their clothes.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
All right, 24-17, the Patriots beat the Saints and have won 2 in a row for the first time this season. Now it's on to Kansas City next Sunday for a showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I don't think we can gloss over the Steve Belichick death, Bob, very easily. I had a chance to read the Halberstam book, The Education of a Coach, and there's the first half of the book is really dedicated to the relationship between father and son. Bill is very much a coach's son. His father was one of the first true scouts of football. He was a tireless worker for the Naval Academy. In fact, he was assigned to cover the U.S. Military Academy, because back then, of course, the Navy-Army game was the game, and they said that Steve Belichick knew more about the Army football team than the Army football team knew about the Army football team. But a lot of the characteristics of Bill comes from the Belichick family that were European immigrants, I believe from Croatia, if I'm not mistaken. And a great shot there of Bill and his dad. And Dad was here often for press conferences after the game. They were inseparable in Bill's knowledge and love for the game, as many of us come from what we glean from our fathers. And there's a great example there of certainly a happy Bill after a Super Bowl, and the apple didn't fall far from the tree with those two, Steve Belichick and Bill Belichick.
It's a great shot, and we learned today that Steve Belichick passed away yesterday, and as the son would have done, as the father would have done, he was out here coaching today. I don't think there was ever any real question that would ever happen. But
the show must go on.
The show must go on.
Carry on, and carry on they did, and let's also keep in mind and put in perspective, while we point out that the Patriots are a severely flawed team, unlike other squads we've seen here recently, they still have ways to make plays with key men out of the lineup. Today, Corey Dillon did not play. Troy Brown did not play. Daniel Graham did not play. So really, Deion Branch, Bob, was the featured receiver in this ball game, along with Tim Dwight and Andre Davis. Davis had been cut earlier in the year. And I thought Branch had a heck of a game today for the Patriots and kind of set the tone early on.
Yes, he did.
When he got blasted by Mike McKenzie and just jumped right back in his face as if to say, hey, Mike, I took your best shot. You hit me with a left uppercut in the second round, and I went to the canvas, but I'm getting back up, and I'm going 15 rounds with you before this game is over. And I thought that was plucky kind of stuff from Deion Branch. It's a nice little sequence of Branch catches again. You know, when you're the #1 receiver on a football team and Givens is out and Brown is out and some of these other guys are out, that was a kind of a little miscommunication, obviously, on the part of the Saint defense when he went in motion and nobody went with him, and that was a key touchdown. And now a comeback play here, and he also made a one-hand catch. Remember, late in the game when Mike McKenzie threw him into the bench and got a 15-yard penalty, and the Saints, as their wont, hurt themselves with dumb penalties down the stretch.
They got a little chippy after that, too, because they all started going after McKenzie.
How about the Will Smith getting 3 major penalties on one sequence?
First time I'd ever seen 350.
Unsportsmanlike personal foul and throwing the helmet.
Unsportsmanlike. And didn't get thrown out of the game.
No.
That's hard to do. That Patrick pass play that set up the Andre Davis touchdown, which I thought was a candidate for play of the game because...
Well, they were pinned down.
They were pinned deep in their own territory, and... well, we might as well take a look at it. I mean, I thought this, in the way of unexpected plays of the game, Andre Davis, or they could have scored another touchdown, but nothing would have happened if they don't complete this play.
Well, not only that, it was a surprise call.
Yeah,
3rd and 8.
That's it.
You don't expect to run in that spot.
Not at all.
And Patrick pass, this play broke wide open to the left and provided them with some necessary breathing room. Little quick toss. Kaiser goes out and blows out the cornerback, and there's a big first down there, and that gave them the breathing room. And the play after, or 2 plays later, they hit the big one to Brown. You know, I question a couple of things Jim Haslett did in this game. Before this play, Bob, punting? Down 14-7 when you're a 2-7 football team, you hit the ball deep in Patriot territory.
I don't
Kicking
know.
a field goal when you're down 21-7 early in the 4th quarter, they're a 2-7 team. Jimmy, go for it. You're not going anywhere. I couldn't understand either of those tactical decisions that Haslett made in this football game.
But yet they were in it to the last play of the game, and who knows, maybe he'd have gone for 2 and it would have been lights out. It would have been...
Should have gone for 2 if they score.
Let's go inside. Steve Burton's got some more information on Bill Belichick. Steve?
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Yeah, Bill Belichick is going to come out momentarily. In the meantime, we're going to be here waiting for him, but he's going to come out and just make a statement. He's not going to answer any questions. His dad passed away last night. We all found that out. He's going to make a statement and then be escorted out of here right away. So in the meantime, we're just going to wait on him. But we all knew Steve Belichick. You probably knew him better than others.
Here he comes, guys.
Here's Coach Belichick right here.
Here comes the coach now.
Well, just a couple of things, quick things on the game. You know, I thought overall that we, played a pretty competitive football game. Unfortunately, later in the game, they kind of mounted a good comeback and, made it close there at the end. But, I thought we had some balance to ourselves offensively. We definitely want to try to get the ball down the field. We hit some, we missed some, but, it was obviously a significant part of the game plan. Defensively, I thought we, played the run pretty well and, for the most part, contained Brooks. They got a real good group of receivers, and they ended up making some plays on us. They threw the ball pretty well, which we knew they were capable of doing. So, overall though, got to be happy about the win. First time we've been able to string a couple together all year, so that's satisfying. We're in a little bit of a short week now with Thanksgiving and all that, so I think it's just important that we be able to maintain our focus, come back, and get back to work here this week and get ready for Kansas City. Personally, coach this game with a heavy heart. My dad passed away. I found out about it in the middle of last night. Obviously had a tremendous influence on my life personally, and particularly in the football aspect. It was great to be able to share some of the tremendous memories with him and some of our recent successes, as I did when I was a kid, and he was successful as a coach at the Naval Academy in that program. And yesterday he did what he enjoyed doing. He went and watched Navy play, watched them win. Some of his former players were there. Had dinner and spoke with them after the game. And like he normally does Saturday night, sitting around watching college football. And his heart just stopped beating. So I'm sure that's the way he would have wanted it to end. He went peacefully, which for him is unusual. So Dante will take over here in my absence for this part or whatever part of the week that ends up being, and that's how we'll do it. So, okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right, I think he said that Dante Scarnecchia was going to take over. So if Dante comes out, we should be advised. But it's interesting. He had a little wry smile. He said he went peacefully, which was unusual.
Yeah. You could just read the emotion on Bill's face. And again, to reiterate the closeness of the relationship, that this is a father who loved football and a son who picked up. As you know, I grew to love baseball because of my dad and all of us. I mean, the paternal influences in our lives are enormous. And when you think of a guy like Bill Belichick, and Joe Bellino, the great Heisman Trophy winner, Bob, of Winchester, went to the Naval Academy. And Joe tells me many a story about young Bill cavorting around the field, as a ball boy at the Navy with his dad there coaching and scouting, whatever.
I think Bellino was his favorite player of all time.
And Joe Bellino and Bill have been friends to this day, and it all traces back to the Naval Academy and whatever. And you saw the emotion on Bill's face, and what a sad day it is for him.
Okay, we're going to take a break and once again give you an opportunity to vote for player of the game. We'll go back in and hear more from be it Dante Scarnecchia in place of head coach Bill Belichick, who issued only a statement today. And then, of course, we'll hear from Tom Brady. Log on to UPN38.com and click on player of the game. We'll be right back.
Coach Bill Belichick's post-game news conference is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts, come home again. Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots Fifth Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
Welcome back to the Patriots Fifth Quarter. The Patriots have just beaten the Saints 24-17, but the big story today is the passing of Bill Belichick's dad, who passed away last night, and Steve Diassi to my left knew Steve Belichick pretty well.
Well, we got to know him about, I think, 15 years or so. Go back at the Giants, and he was one of the guys that was around. But it was strange because coaches will oftentimes have their dads around or some family members or whatnot. But he was a guy that you could always talk to about football, and it's like he read the game plan, or he was studying game films or something, because you talked to him about a play that happened in the game, and he'd start breaking it down for you, and you could just see where the analytical mind of Bill Belichick came from, and you could see what made Steve Belichick a successful coach too. He was one of those guys that was always around, but never imposing, never trying to put himself.
It wasn't a game day thing. And that was the greatest thing about him. He was there with us through camp. And Tom Tupa and myself, we had a little contest going every day at camp. Who's the first one back to eat lunch? No matter how fast we tried, how fast we got showered, Steve Belichick always beat us to the food line, and he laughed about it. And I feel bad because one time during a game, there was a punt return. It was coming right for the bench. Tupa and myself were standing there on the sideline. We're about getting ready to get hit. So we went out of the way. We grabbed the guy closest to us. It was Steve Belichick. We threw him right in front of the guy. Got his legs taken out. And I saw him here last year in the home game. He says, "You SOB." I'll never forget that.
That's
you know.
Right.
So he was that type of guy, just an old football guy.
And you could tell,
feisty guy, wasn't he?
He certainly was, and you could tell the relationship that him and his son had was something special and something of a common ground. They both could talk football, and they both loved the game and loved their family, and just a real nice guy to have around. And we're all very sorry for Bill's loss.
I'm sure the team played for Steve Belichick today and ended up getting a win for him, so that is big news. Turning to the game itself, let's talk about what happened today, because I think that the tight ends came up big today.
Absolutely. Christian Fourier had a little bit of the drops, which is totally uncharacteristic of him. The one pass was a little bit out of his reach in the end zone, but the other one that he dropped, he certainly could have had. But again, Ben Watson came up huge, but we've all known that this guy has that kind of talent. He has that speed to get open, and he has the size and the strength to make those runs after the catch. So
is he starting to remind you guys of Ben Coates a little bit?
He's a little more shiftier. I'd say he's more athletic. Even though Ben was athletic, Ben had the size. He was 6'6", and all he had to do was turning his back to a guy, and you could bang the ball anywhere on him. Brady did a good job today looking off the safety, and he came back several times to Watson. And not only Watson, but throughout these last course of games, we've been criticizing some of the receivers for not hanging onto the ball. A lot of drops. Today, they not only caught the ball, but they got drilled, and they hung onto the ball, and I think that's the key. And Coach Belichick talked about it in the postgame. They had balance today. I mean, going into that last drive, they had 134 yards on the ground. I would just like to see him give it to Heath Evans and run that clock out.
Watson could actually be more physically talented than Ben Coates was. He's stronger.
He's a better blocker.
Certainly stronger. Might be a little bit faster. The hands, Ben Coates had tremendous hands, could catch anything. But this guy's got superstar potential. But now it's a matter of, you've also got a guy in Daniel Graham that can play this position too. And you got an offense that hasn't really featured the tight ends this year all that much.
And hopefully they will. Now, that was on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, Willie McGinnis all over the football field.
Putting pressure on the quarterback, playing the run real well. They broke it down on TV one time where he just maintained. It was tempting to go inside. He maintained it right here. He maintained his outside position, and he was able to make the play on the outside. Antoine Smith, of course, doesn't have the speed to step outside, but right there, Willie just in Aaron Brooks' face all day and making a mockery of that block.
As a quarterback, when you see McGinnis coming at you, Scott, what do you do?
Well, me, I'd throw the ball away because I'm not that fast. But you got a guy like Brooks, and Diaz and I were talking about it. It's amazing he didn't take off several times today because he got that first pressure from Willie, which made him, do that one little sidestep, and he still kept his eyes upfield, looking as to where he still could have picked up 8 or 12 yards if he would have scampered a couple times. But they did a good job containing, and if he's looking that long, it means they're doing a good job covering guys downfield. And let's face it, Joe Horn and Dante Stallworth are pretty good receivers compared to the guys they faced last week.
And it's strange with a guy like Brooks. It's almost like he wants to disavow himself of the running quarterback.
He wants to be that
tag.
pocket guy.
He wants to be the guy that's a pure quarterback. But you're absolutely right, Scott. There were at least 3 times where he could have taken off and gotten 10 yards or more, and he just didn't want to. He stayed in the pocket and tried to make a play.
That's because he's thinking pass first.
That's fine. But when your team's down, you got to get that. You got to make that play.
That's what Aaron Brooks did 2 years ago. But that's the difference this year. He's sitting in the pocket. You're forcing him to turn the football over. 2 years ago, he would have taken off, and they would win games like this.
Mike Vrabel, another touchdown catch, his 6th career touchdown catch.
That wasn't an easy catch.
Now, here's the thing with Vrabel. Whenever Vrabel comes in a football game, the opposition has to be aware down on the goal line that the ball's coming to him. How could you not know this?
Because the tendency down the goal line, you get in there and you're all geeked up to stop the run, and any little bit of play action sucks the safety, sucks the linebackers up. Watch all the linebackers just flying after the run right there.
Vrabel's wide open.
Wide open. And he still had to make a pretty good catch in order to this. Look, he comes back to the inside.
It's a 3-part thing. You got a great fake from Brady. Not only that, you got Heath Evans covering over the ball going down. Looks like he's getting tackled. So it's all about selling it, and you get that, like Steve said, you get that one little hesitation from a linebacker or a safety, and you got him.
All right, we are waiting on Patriot quarterback Tom Brady. In the meantime, we're going to take a break. You can still vote for player of the game. Don't forget to vote. Stay with us.
No Dunkin' Donuts Dash for Daylight today. The Patriots did not return a punt or kickoff for a touchdown today, meaning Lisa Nitkowski of Wakefield doesn't win the trip to see the Pats play the Jets, but will still receive a Dunkin' Donuts gift pack. Log on to UPN38.com to find out how you can enter next week's Dunkin' Donuts Dash for Daylight. Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
All right, 24-17 win by the Patriots over the Saints, and as you can see, the AFC East continues to implode with the Dolphins losing today, and Buffalo on the short end of a score out in San Diego even as we speak. So it is what it is this year. The balance of power has certainly shifted in the last couple of years.
Well, this is the AFC version of the NFC North with the Vikings and the Bears and the Packers and the Lions. And, coming in, I thought it would be a decent division, not a good one, but it's turned out to be an abysmal one. And the Patriots will say thank you very much for that. I heard a stat that was amazing, Bob, that they had 10 defensive backs on the roster going into the Oakland game, the season opener here at the stadium in Foxborough, and 6 of those 10 are now on injured reserve. 6 of the 10 defensive
like
backs
the Red Sox bullpen
that they went in, that they started with. So that's why you're seeing guys like Stone and Hawkins and Hank Poteet and It's survival mode. That's what it is. I mean, that's you're just trying to, piece it together. What we don't know is what Bill said to the team before the game about his dad. I'd be curious about that.
Well, maybe we'll
get some interviews before we go off the air to see what kind of emotional lift that could have given New England. They got off to a very fast start in this football game. There's no doubt about that. They built a lead very, very nicely and did allow the Saints, however, to come back in the football game.
Well, that was kind of the mystery to me, but, the Saints are what they are. They're having their own issues, as we all know, this season. If there's ever a lost campaign, it's the New Orleans Saints.
And again, I think that, they've outgained their opposition in yardage this year. And they outgained the Patriots today, by the way, and they're 2-8. And you can see the frustration late in the game with New Orleans. After that, I don't know why Hazlitt's trying to kick a field goal with 13 minutes to go, down 21-7. They blow the field goal. Now the Patriots get the ball back, and that was an important possession for New England. They were able to march down with the aid of some of the dumbest penalties that we've seen. And this is New Orleans Saints football. They are at the top of the heap in the league in penalties. I think they're number 2 behind Oakland.
Well, take a look at these unnecessary. The first one, McKenzie on Deion Branch, which was unconscionable. I mean, okay, you're frustrated. You're having the things are not going your way, but
this was after Carney missed the field goal.
Right.
All right, so McKenzie grabs him and just flings him into the bench, clearly out of bounds. And Deion Branch is in his face. He was feisty all game long, was Deion Branch. And this was the capper, though, Will Smith. Watch the knee to the throat of, I guess, Christian Fourier into this pile. And that drew the initial flag. And then I guess you got an extra major penalty for mouthing off to the Zebras. And then to cap it off, he threw his helmet. So you got 3 15-yard penalties now because the Patriots, I believe, were at the 28-yard line. It wound up being about 14 yards in yardage, but I'd never seen that.
And he never got thrown out of the game?
3 15-yard
in one
penalties
play.
on one play.
All right, Steve's in with Ben Watson, and maybe we'll get a little insight as to what might have been said by Bill Belichick about his father. Steve?
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Yeah, Ben Watson is standing next to me, and they just asked me to ask you about Bill Belichick's dad. You guys did not know about it before the game?
No, we didn't know. It was something he told us after the game, and our heart goes out to him.
What did he say to you guys after the game about his dad?
He just addressed the team about the game, about the win, and they just told us that his dad passed away, and he'd have some personal things to take care of.
It's got to be heavy. I know that. I know what it's like to lose a dad. Big game for you. 4 catches, 66 yards. Let's talk about some of those catches because finally, and we said this before, they're starting to find you wide open. They're starting to go to the tight ends, and obviously you being a primary receiver.
Yeah, definitely. It was great to be involved in the offense today, and that's something we've been working on all year. Tom looked great out there throwing me the ball, and the line did a great job blocking.
Was it going into the game? Was it in the game plan? Did you expect to be that open, or did you expect to be that involved in the offense?
It's kind of the same plays we always work on, and it just so happened today that they were open and that Tom found them.
Yeah, and you hold on the football. I mean, a lot of times
you don't get so many.
I understand that, but and that's coming up big. You're coming up big each time they're throwing you the football. You're catching it, and you're catching it for extra yards, which is, that's just what the doctor ordered, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, well, if they throw it to you, you got to catch it. I mean, so that way they'll keep coming back to you.
How many of those routes that you have are reads or options? You're reading something in the secondary, reading something pre-snap, and going to your spot.
I mean, that's one of the biggest differences between college and the NFL. I mean, every route we run is pretty much a read. Every route we run pretty much depends on certain coverages.
So you have options. You can go one way or the other.
Yep, depending on the defense, depending on the coverage, man zone. Inside leverage, outside leverage.
And you're expected to see the same thing that Tom Brady's seeing and react accordingly.
Yes, you are. So, sometimes that doesn't always work, but most of the time, we practice it very hard, and, the coaches drill us. They let us know, what to expect in certain situations, and we just go out there and try to play.
Ben Watson, big game for you.
Thanks,
big win. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
In the meantime, let's go back out to Bob Lobel. Bob?
All right, guys. Newey and I were talking, and it's I guess it's not unfathomable. I guess it's all you need to know about the privacy and how stoic this man is, that he did not tell his team, or they did not find out from another coach, that the coach's father passed away last night. It's just it's amazing, actually.
Particularly in light of the fact that most coaches use anything in their power to motivate the troops over the course of a long, long season. Now, you take a look, and a perfect juxtaposition to this is the New York Giants. 3 weeks ago, Wellington Mara's on his deathbed. The Giants are playing at home. I think it was Washington. I'm not sure. But Tom Coughlin told the team that Wellington Mara was very, very sick and was going to die very, very shortly. Everybody knew it. He had inoperable cancer. He was 89 years old, I believe. And Wellington, Mr. Mara, did die, I think, on the Tuesday or the Wednesday following the game. And then the Giants used that as motivation the following week. And Tom Coughlin, I'm not saying this to knock Tom Coughlin. Every coach has his own style. But it is fascinating that Bill Belichick opted not to use this as a motivating tool for his troops today against the New Orleans Saints. Wanted to win it on the square. It's my personal business that my father passed away. Didn't use it to light a fire or to rally the troops. I find that very interesting.
Very interesting. Right. Without passing any judgment, as you mentioned, Wellington Mara, of course, was the owner of the football team. He may have urged Coughlin to say, do whatever you need to do or whatever, but this was strictly a family private matter, and it was separate from the football team. It is. It's fascinating and interesting, and without judgment, that gives you a kind of a clue into how private this guy, Bill Belichick, really is, and how what's personal is personal and what's public with the NFL.
Let's beat them straight up. Let's not have to use this as a tool to win this football game. You know, other coaches would, like I say, they'll try anything because they know how tough it is. They know that, you know, that week-to-week edge, that little edge that you're looking for in this ultra-competitive league can, you know, sometimes provide the difference between winning and losing, and opted not to. Today, I agree. I find it very interesting.
We're going to come back. And you know what? This game was a lot closer than it had to be in the end. And the reality was it came down to the end. There was 0-0-0 on the clock, and the game was still in doubt. It was in the Saints end zone.
Would Hazlitt have gone for two had they scored?
You know what? If he hadn't.
Would they have gone for two?
Had to.
Hey, Vermeil did and Gruden did?
Had to. All right.
Wouldn't have been a bad call?
Not a bad call at all. Would have made up for some of his other decisions on the day. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots Fifth Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
All right, back out on the field, the Patriots with a 7-point win over the Saints. Much closer than it really had to be, but Michael Felger of ESPN Radio and the Boston Herald's here. Newman and I were talking about the death of Steve Belichick and how the team came to find out after the game.
Bill told the players after the game, no one knew before the game. When I say no one, I just talked to Teddy Bruschi, and if anyone on defense is going to know, it's Teddy Bruschi. And Teddy said the only one who may know is Tom Brady, and maybe we'll hear him in his press conference. If Tom Brady knew before, that might be the only player. Bob Kraft came into the locker room after the game, gave Bill Belichick a game ball on behalf of the team and the organization. And I talked to one player, and he said when Bill said it, our jaws just dropped because we had absolutely zero idea. And if you'll notice, the national telecast did not break the story until late in the game when it looked like the Patriots were well on their way. So was there an arrangement there or something? I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if there were, where the Patriots told the network, do not mention this until the game is out of hand. We don't want this out.
Well, here's the question that we were knocking around. You know, at a time when coaches will use anything to motivate their team, as Tom Coughlin did with Wellington Mara, not once but twice. Once when he was sick on his deathbed, then the following week when the death of Wellington Mara. That isn't it interesting about this coach that he wouldn't go there with his team?
Not even close. I mean, some things do. As much as Bill Belichick is football and breathes it and it's his life, some things I think go beyond motivating a team for a game and the death of his father is one of them. I mean, the last couple of years, those of us who've been around the team every day have seen Steve Belichick a lot. Bill, I think, has made a point to bring Steve around the team, keep him around, because I think he knew his father was 86, wasn't going to be around forever. He wanted to share moments with him, and that's why we've seen so much of Steve Belichick recently. I actually just talked to Dave Halberstam, who just did this book, this fabulous book on Steve and Bill Belichick, and Halberstam told me that Bill's success absolutely extended Steve's life. life, or gave him his final years, made him a happier man, a more content man, a more fulfilled man. And Bill knew that, and that's why he brought him into his circle, and that's why we've seen Steve so much. And this is a huge loss for Belichick. I mean, it really is, with the other personal things that are going on with Bill and the breakup of his family. His father became so much more important to him than he ever has. And so, huge loss for Bill, and amazing that he went through this day the way he did.
Now, the other question, Mike, and that is, Bill referred to, Dante Skonecki is kind of taking over for a while.
Right.
And what does a while mean? Does it mean that, Bill's going to be out until, Thursday or Friday? Does it mean that Dante is going to be breaking down the film and doing the game planning for, an important game against Kansas City next Sunday?
My guess is Bill would be back Friday. It's just a guess. I know that the players are practicing on Tuesday. Tuesday's the normal day off, so they're going to work Monday, Tuesday, probably a short day Wednesday. They get the break for the holiday, which they usually do. They never practice on Thursday. And I would imagine that Bill would come back on Friday. Would just be my guess based on the fact they're practicing Tuesday.
If you need a window into the mind of this man, and you're a player that plays for him, and to go through the whole preparation, the night before, the day of, on the field, and find out after the game, and you said jaw-dropping experience, it's like, whoa, how could this man do this? How could someone totally wall that off, at least at some level, and focus on what was happening out here?
Some players, some coaches are wired that way, others aren't. I mean, Larry Izzo lost his father a few days before a game against Cleveland a couple of years ago. Larry flew to Houston, flew back for the game, and made like 4 flights within the span of 2 days to attend to his family, play the game, and then go back. Tyrone Poole, a cornerback who is now on injured reserve, lost his father recently, and it affected him differently. He wasn't able to play and put his whole mind into it. So some people are wired differently. Bill Belichick is obviously wired as a football coach. And what would Steve Belichick want? And Steve Belichick was a coach for 40, 50 years. I think he would want his son to coach the game.
And the other fascinating, question that I would have for Bill Belichick, down the road, and maybe you'll get to do this in retrospect, is did he have full concentration on this game today on the field as the thing was progressing?
How could he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you have that kind of relationship with your father, who's a football guy, the gajillion things that had to be swimming through his mind, and certain plays that his father may have known about or recommended or whatever. It's fascinating.
Bill Belichick is not a robot. I mean, contrary to popular belief, the man is a human being, and so there is no way he was 1,000% focused on this game. No way.
But, we'll never know, because for that not to be out there in public, or at least in the confines of your own locker room, it's stunning. It's stunning.
Well, this team is amazing like that.
I think you talk about their own motivation for
personal life is personal life, football is football. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use it. It's as simple as that. We'll beat him fair and square. We'll beat him straight up. I don't need to do it.
It's my issue, not yours.
Yeah.
I'll deal with my issue, which kind of gives you a sense of how tough he is on the inside, or at least, you kind of retreat. I think some people kind of retreat to that place of inner toughness when there's no other place to go.
I'll go back to the thing that I think Steve Belichick would absolutely want Bill to coach this game, and so that probably gave him strength. I mean, that was, so he doesn't feel guilty about focusing on something else, because that's what truly, in Steve Belichick's heart of hearts, what his mother would want, his father. I mean, I'm convinced of that, and so I bet that made it easier is the wrong word, but allowed him to do it.
All right, let's talk a little football. Find out. Again, this was a game that was a lot closer. Forget Bill's concentration or whatever. He has assistants. They all have to step up and take responsibility. He's a quarterback. That's an on-the-field coach. Why is he throwing to Andre Davis 4 times, over 35 yards down the field when you need to run out the clock?
Hey, a game plan thing. That's what the Saints were giving him, and if the Patriots are known for anything, it's taking what the defense gives you. Brady overshot Davis a couple times. Davis could have had 3 touchdowns on those long balls. That's what the defense was giving you. A and B, it's not like you had Corey Dillon out there. I think we all like what Heath Evans has done, and Patrick Pass has shown good flashes. But it's not clock-killing Patrick Pass. I mean, look at the makeup of the team. Look at the offensive line. You got 3 guys there who didn't start the year, rookies, new starters. So I don't think they're a clock-killing team.
And you mentioned, Brady did miss a couple of balls today that normally he would have hit. But we've dwelled on the number of defensive players that are missing, the defensive back, 6 of the 10 guys, that were on the roster in Oakland. But think about today. You had Matt Light. You had Tom Ashworth. You had Dan Copen. You had Daniel Graham. You had Corey Dillon. You had David Givens.
Troy Brown.
I mean, that's 6 or 7 essential offensive players, and they still were able to put up, 24 points. He's not going to win the MVP of the National Football League, but tell me that Tom Brady isn't responsible for them being where they are today.
Offensively, I don't think it's been their issue all year.
Right.
It hasn't been perfect, but I think that they've won Super Bowls with less offensively. Let's put it that way. 2001, their offense was certainly less than this. In 03, you can make that case as well. So it's really all on the defense. I think the defense today didn't get any worse. Let's put it that way. I don't know if we can really gauge or make any big judgments off of this. Is this a momentum game? Is this a sign of something bigger? I don't know if that's the case, but I think next week's the test at Kansas City against that offense. If this defense is really
say that, but I'm telling you, they could have lost this game today. They put themselves in a position not to win, but to lose today.
I don't look at it that way.
They don't, huh? Well, what happened on the last play of the game? Were they in a position to lose this game?
They were, and you know what?
Did they need to be in that position?
But Bob, let's look at it positively.
Did they need to be in that position? Did they have control of that?
I don't know if they're that much better than the Saints personnel-wise. The Saints have some very good personnel. They have some good personnel on offense where the Patriots are weak. The Saints are deep in the receiving group. And Aaron Brooks, call me crazy, I think is a talented quarterback who can make plays. This is what I look at. Eugene Wilson, that game-saving interception, it's the first play he's made all year, basically. Finally. Rodney Harrison goes down in week 3. I've been waiting for this guy to step up, fill that role, and finally, today, he made a play. It's his first one. Hopefully, that sets him on his way. We saw Roosevelt Colvin 3 weeks ago, who has pretty much struggled for a year and a half, make a play against Buffalo, and he's been a different player since. Maybe this will be the one for Eugene Wilson.
All right, in your opinion, do the Saints go for 2 if they score in that last play to try and win it right then and there?
No.
A la Kansas City, a la Tampa Bay?
No. Tampa Bay had a penalty, so they brought it a yard closer. So that's the difference there. I don't think Haslett does that. No, I don't.
Interesting.
Man, I just tell you, I can't believe that would be the case. What's the downside of going for 2? I guess
Well, Charlie Weiss answered this question in a Notre Dame press conference during the week, and it was a great answer. He says if you have confidence in your team, if you really believe in your team, you go to overtime because you have confidence in your defense to stop them. You have confidence in your offense to go down
on the road. You're 2-7. What's the decision?
If you go for 2, it's saying you don't believe in your team. That I need to fluke this out to win the game.
Well, you know what?
Maybe
I guess he doesn't have to worry about that now.
I don't think we never got to that point.
We never got to that point.
Interesting conversation.
We do the highlights. We just have to gather the highlights. We're not set. We're going to take a break here. So when we come back, we will do the highlights. And then we'll hear, hopefully, from Tom Brady to find out if he, in fact, was the only player.
Find out who the player of the game is, right?
Player of the game. That's right. Who would you say?
I would say it's Brady.
Brady. We thought McGinnis.
Best defensive player in the field, for sure. Absolutely.
Brandt?
Watson.
Okay, well, there you go.
Watson.
Was Watson somewhere in the second half? Did he go sell popcorn? What happened in the second half with Watson?
Can't answer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next question.
All right, Michael, we got it. See you later. Thanks.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots 5th Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
Let's take a look at the schedule, which is exactly what you're seeing right now. And it's on to Kansas City for a 1 o'clock game next Sunday, the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
And the Chiefs, I don't believe, are as strong as they have been in past years. Priest Holmes out for the year. Their defense supposedly improved. I don't necessarily buy into that. But conventional wisdom says Arrowhead's never an easy place to win. So we'll buy into that and say that the Kansas City game, I believe the toughest game on that slate, is December 11th in the wilds of Buffalo, New York, particularly if the Bills are alive for a playoff spot. Now, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be no day at the beach either here, 12-17. Look at the way the Patriots are now constituted personnel-wise. I'm not so sure, other than maybe a jet situation with their 3rd or 4th string quarterback, that anything's going to be particularly easy for this team. It shouldn't be looked at that way, given what we saw today, life and death to beat a 2-7 New Orleans Saints team.
I know, but you still get the feeling the Patriots, even with their patchwork, they are getting better. Incrementally, they're getting better. They're making fewer mistakes. They're certainly taking fewer penalties. They seem to be a little more with it.
Well, they've changed their tactics on defense. They're blitzing a lot more with mixed results, I thought, today. And they're blitzing a lot more because they're clearly trying to cover up for some Swiss cheese holes in that secondary. Now, the problem with it is that if you don't get to the quarterback, you're looking at man coverage, with fairly weak defenders, if you do get to them, all is well and good. And a couple of times in the first half today against Brooks, they were able to get to him and pressure him, and they had guys open, believe me. I mean, I'm watching from a great spot in the end zone in that press box, and Horn is open and Stallworth is open, and he can't get him the ball because McGinnis is in his face, or Vrabel's in his face, or whatever. So that's the dilemma that the coaching staff has down the stretch, is how much do we blitz defensively to try and get to the quarterback and gamble and not leave these guys, the quarterback all day to throw and pick these guys apart. So it's a tough spot for the defensive coaches and Eric Mangini, the coordinator.
All right. Well, you know what? I think we're going to show the highlights here, and I think it's time now to start looking at the Pittsburghs of the world and start looking about home field, because you're going to play a home field game, and I think now it's time to go to the next level. I agree with you. The biggest game is going to be Buffalo, the toughest game, but I think it's time to go to let's go to the highlights. Then we can argue about this.
Take a look. Quick start.
Quick start. Very quick start. You're up 14-0. Here's how it happened.
And this is an opening drive, and Benjamin Watson is the featured performer here. It's a drive, Bob, that started, I believe, on their own 2 or 3 yard line. 98 yards, 16 plays, 8:05. This is a beautiful throw here off the shoulder for 29 yards. And then it's Brady buying time and slipping one again to Watson here. And
4th and 2.
That was part of a drive that involved 2 successful third down conversions and 1 fourth down conversion that you just saw. And here's Watson making it look elementary again with a pass that took the ball deep into Saint territory. And from there, this is a blown coverage on New Orleans. Deion Branch goes in motion. Mike McKenzie passes him off. And Branch does his bows, and here's McKenzie there looking for inside help that is not there.
It's got to be a busted coverage.
Excellently designed play. Everybody going right, him slipping left.
This was an excellent call as well in their next drive.
Well, the Patriots are as good a screen team as there is in football. They caught a big break here because this was the great play against a blitzing Saint defense. They sent both their linebackers, and Patrick Pass was wide open with a convoy, and he's able to punch it down inside the 5 yard line to set up who, Bob, for the touchdown?
How about Mike Vrabel, Mr. Touchdown?
It's easy to say, how can the Saints not defend this? They see 50 in the game. Have they not watched any Super Bowls?
Well, they haven't been to any. They've hosted a few.
And now it's 14-0, and you say this is going to be easy. And I thought the Saints would mail it in, given their record.
Knocked away.
But some good defense here by Ellis Hobbs.
And look to this defense.
And here's Aaron Brooks with a little drag pattern here. Bruschi goes for the shoot-top tackle, and this is Aaron Stecker. And this was a big play for the Saints. Set them up in good shape late in the second quarter. Brooks to Stallworth on the slant against Samuel, that did not play as well this week, I thought, as he did last week. And this made it a 14-7 ball game. And now New Orleans knows they're in the game.
Absolutely, but then the Patriot defense, and a little stronger again on third down plays today. Third and 1 comes up.
Stop Stecker, and again, why did Jim Haslett punt the football? And that spot is beyond me on a 2-7 club. But he did, and that pass, Gallup, took the Patriots out of the hole, and it's your play of the game, right?
I thought it was, it wasn't the popular choice of play of the game. This followed that Patrick pass third down pickup, and this was a wide open Andre Davis for the touchdown, and that made it 21-7, and that really turned out to be the play of the game.
All right, now let's watch Davis here. McKenzie's going to pass him off to the safety, Dwight Smith. Dwight Smith came into the game as questionable. Look he can't even run with Andre Davis. That was a mismatch. And the jam, and interesting that he knocked the goalposts off askew. They had to fix him a little bit later on, and there's a good example of...
who knew they were that vulnerable?
That's right. Andre Davis beating Smith, who was passed off by McKenzie. Here's the play. What are they doing kicking a field goal with 13:15 to go in the game, down 14 points?
After a 5-yard delay of the game.
You're only going to get the ball at best on 2 more possessions. I don't understand. Here comes the comeback. Stallworth on the slant, and that made it 24-14.
But it's not exactly like the Patriots had great clock management, because if the Saints convert this, get the 6, and go for 2, the Patriots lose. It's that simple.
Which would have been stunning. But Eugene Wilson did make the play, and Aaron Brooks, another what might have been for the New Orleans Saints and Jim Hasler, as they go to 2-8.
You're going to get your first pick of the year.
And their season is over. Eugene Wilson, who has not had many moments like this during the season, picked a good time to get involved. But excellent coverage here on Joe Horn. You had Wilson coming in there late, making the pick, and that cemented the victory, and Patriots win by 7.
Number 44, Heath Evans, has now become a staple in the Patriots backfield.
Did a nice job.
Did a nice job again today, and he's in there with Steve Burton right now.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Yeah, Heath Evans has done nice. He's 2 for 2 in games. And I'll tell you one thing, you were running up a storm because you are tough to bring down.
This O-line's been opening up great holes, and luckily I've just been able to follow them.
Your first game was against the Dolphins, a team that let you go just a few weeks ago. How sweet was that to come up, run amok? Before you knew it, you didn't even know you were going to play in the game. Corey Dillon goes down, you're in the second play of the game.
You know, last week I had to be somewhat politically correct. It felt great. It felt really good. So this line's playing great for me.
You had 16 carries for 74 yards today. Let's talk about some of those runs because like I said, you go through that line, and what you're looking for daylight, you're looking to score. 3 guys, 4 guys trying to bring you down, and you're tough to bring down.
Most of the time I'm looking for people to run over. Sometimes I
you like hitting, don't you?
You know, it's funny. It's my game, and it eventually breaks the defense down. The O-line loves it, keeps them charged, and, you know, heck, I'm just following holes.
What is your normal position? Tailback, fullback, what?
You know, these days, I don't know. I was brought here as a fullback.
You were brought here as a fullback?
That's what I'm going to continue to work on and perfect.
What do you like playing?
Come on.
You want the ball, don't you?
You know, I love the ball, but I'm a team player, and whatever this team needs me to do, I will do.
How are you getting along with Corey Dillon? You know, he's out. Patrick Pass, another guy who was supposed to be a backup, he comes in. He's starting to play right away.
It's a joy to be a part of such a great group of running backs. So it's been a special event.
All right, well, your quarterback just walked in the room, so...
Guys, how you doing?
Someone keep out of the way for a second, Bob.
No, Heath did a great job again today.
Thanks, Tom.
That wraps it up.
Hey, Tom, talk about, first of all, Bill's dad. He lost his dad last night.
Yeah.
What effect that had on him today?
Well, he said it, you know, he said he coached with a heavy heart today, and I mean, I just I try to put myself in his shoes, and if I ever, you know, when I do lose my father, I know how tough it'll be, and I know how important his father was to him, and having him here at training camp every year, and he was a great man, and you know, he raised a great son.
Did he tell the team before the game?
No.
You guys had no clue?
No idea. Just sitting there after the game, and he just made mention of it to the team after he said his comments about the game, and you know, there was a sigh for him, and I think everyone realizes how tough that would be. He used to give me crap about it. He sure did. But I always had a great relationship with him. You know, he'd always be in my ear, and he had great perspective. And he coached football for a long time. And he really, he was Coach Belichick's mentor, and he really, he was just a great person. It was always nice having him around. All the players enjoyed having him around. He'd sit in meetings, be out on the field, and he always had words of wisdom for us.
Tom, the fact that he waited until after the game to tell you guys, can you find a more dedicated man to his craft, do you think, than Belichick, or is it a no-brainer?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that. Like I said, I just can't imagine as a person to not allow that out and to hold that in like he did. I mean, it'd be tough. It's tough for everybody. It's tough for him. It's tough for his family and his children and everyone who knew him. So I know he'll be attending the services here in the next few days, and he's got things to take care of, but you know, he'll be in our minds and certainly in our hearts.
After Ohio State and Michigan, did you over-able that pass?
Oh, he finally got one. I mean, every time he catches a pass, it's a touchdown. And he caught another one. It was a nice catch. It's nice having him out there making those plays for us.
Why do you go top so much? Obviously, you saw something from New Orleans, and there's the most deep balls maybe I've ever seen you throw here.
Yeah.
And specifically the touchdown. Did you see the same thing on that touchdown as you saw in every other play? Or?
Well, we got the coverage we wanted on the touchdown. We were play action fake, and the safeties bit up, and they didn't have much of a chance reacting to it. Andre just ran by him. I think the other ones, I wish we'd have completed a few more of them. He took a lot of shots, we didn't hit all of them. I think if we made one or two more of those plays, it would have been a different outcome there at the end. Specifically in the last drive. I mean, we had him open on the one, overthrew a little bit, and the other one, that was a close call. So
Andre Davis is a speedster.
If we hit one or two more of those, I'd love to see what the outcome of the game would have been, but we didn't. I'm glad we're throwing them. I mean, I think Kansas City's gonna watch the film and be like, all right, these guys will throw it deep. If anything comes out of this game, teams are gonna realize that we have no problem taking some shots.
Did you go into halftime a little bit disappointed with being up 7 points when it seemed like maybe it could have been 20 with some of the shots and opportunities that were out there?
Sure. I mean, it was 14-0. We had the turnover. I fumbled the ball, and that really hurt us. And took a lot of momentum away. I mean, anytime you turn the ball over, it takes away the momentum. And we went 3 and out. And then we had a chance there, a 2-minute drive to score, and then we just didn't make the plays there either. So, I just feel like we leave too many plays out there. There's plays there to be made. When we make them, hey, it looks pretty good. And just too often, at least today, we just didn't make them. It just seems like, oh, we're so close. But, I mean, so close is not good in football. I mean, you either do it or you don't.
Tom, did they pay a lot more attention to Ben Watson in the second half than they did in the first?
Not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, he made some big plays for us in the first half. I don't think we changed our offense a whole lot to go away from him. It's a lot of man coverage that they were playing out there, and it felt like we were trying to throw it deep on them, and we had some chances there. We just didn't make the plays.
Do you feel like you're starting to develop that chemistry with Ben Watson that maybe you have with like a Deion Branch? You feel more comfortable going to him?
I feel comfortable going to Ben. Deion and I have played together for quite a while, more so than Ben and I. And Deion's done a great job. I wish we had got the ball to him more today. And I think we'll look back at the game and realize probably should have thrown it to him much more. And Ben is continuing to improve. He had a nice game today. And it's going to be important for him next week, too. I mean, we've got so many guys banged up. Ben's been in there every week, so we've got to keep finding ways to get him the ball.
Deion talked about the pre-game meeting of the offense that there just weren't many guys there because, you had a number of guys on offense that just weren't going to play for you.
Had a number of guys last few weeks. When you lose 4 linemen, you lose your tight end, you lose 3 or 5 receivers, you lose 2 or 3 backs. So we're just trying to hang on till we get some reinforcements. And the guys that are in there are doing a nice job. And you play a team like this, and who's got some good playmakers over there, very good D-line. They played well against the run today. And like I said, I think if we'd have hit some more of those shots, it would have looked a little better. But we didn't. They played hard. They played right to the very end. And, like I said, hopefully we get some guys back this week because we're going to need everybody that we got out there.
It really kind of lost the cool towards the end of the game when with the whole thing with Will Smith. How did that all happen? Was there a lot of jawing in this game versus maybe some other games that you've seen?
I'm not sure. I think both teams were playing hard. They have a very physical defensive line. Those guys were playing hard all day. And, you get out there, it's a contact sport, and some guys feel you take cheap shots and they go back at you. It was after the play that McKenzie had with Deion. So guys are just playing hard. It's football.
It sounds like, of course, you feel you have a long way to go, but you get the feeling, especially after getting a second win in a row, that things are starting to come together a little bit for this team, that you're moving in increments?
Well, like I said, until you start playing more consistently and have the same group of players out there, it's difficult, and I think that's what we're facing. So we still got plenty of work to do.
How did your center do today?
We didn't fumble the snap, so that was a bonus.
He could have been the big redhead?
Yeah, I love both those guys. I love having Cope out there. He and I, like I said last week, we have a great relationship. He's one of my best friends on the team. Russ has stepped in there, and I thought Russ did very well today. We'll see the film tomorrow, but we won the game, and I know he did some good things out there, and just try to keep building, try to get some guys healthy, and kind of move on.
Touchdown drives, 98, 93 yards.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Sure is. It's a long field. And first drive of the game, 98 yards. I mean, that's pretty good. And then the next drive, I don't know, I think maybe went 50 yards. So it was good. It was good to put together those drives. 93 yards, we got in the huddle. So, guys, it'd be nice to go 93 right here. And we had the little crack play on third down. We ran for probably 30 and then hit the pass to Dre's. And, at that point we felt pretty good. Then we got the ball again. And we're up 17, and just you don't feel like you want to be holding on when you're up 17 in the fourth quarter, but just didn't execute the way I thought we could have. But we'll just keep working at it.
Tom, can you talk about your running game today, Heath and Patrick, what they brought today?
They did a nice job. They ran the ball well. They ran hard. I thought the O-line blocked well, blocked hard. Like I said, it's a very physical D-line that we faced in a good group of linebackers, and I thought the running backs did, really held up their end of the bargain.
He's already gained more yards with you guys than he did his entire career.
He's had a great opportunity. He's had a great opportunity here. He's come into a situation where a lot of guys have been injured, and he's really stepped in and made the most of it. So everyone's glad he's out there running. Everyone feels very comfortable with what he does, and he's a physical guy, but he's fast and elusive. He's got great vision. He's smart. And he brings an element of toughness to our team. And you bring a fullback in who runs over people like he did last week in Miami, and runs over people like he did today. And it really helps the O-line. They want to block for guys like that. When you bring a fullback in who's got that kind of toughness like he does, everyone gets a big boost.
How do you feel like this team's starting to build the resilience of the old teams where your back's against the wall with all the injuries and everything, and you guys are responding in certain situations? It's not always pretty, but, it's starting to happen for you more?
Well, we're still fighting. I don't want to compare this team. We're so far from being compared to Super Bowl teams. We're 6-4, and like I said, we're just trying to hold on out there. We're trying hard. We're fighting hard, and like I said, when we start getting some guys back, we'll see what kind of team we got. But, in the meantime, the guys who are filling in, we have no more depth. All our guys are hurt, so it's going to try to keep battling.
Talk today was about 2 games in a row. Last year was about 20 in a row, 20 games consecutive. How different is it now?
It has been challenging for this team. Like I said, I think each week we go in and there's great anticipation of what we think we can accomplish, and then you get out there and we are fighting back. We're fighting hard. It seems like we're in every game in the fourth quarter. In the games we've won, we've had to come back and really put plays together in the fourth quarter to win. So it's been a challenging year for all of us, for the coaches, for the players. You lose 4 offensive linemen, you're running back, and not to give us any excuse because we don't still intend to lose. We're going out there and playing hard with the guys we got, and the guys we got out there I think are doing a great job. And we just got to keep battling as hard as we can and lay it out there every week. And hopefully when we start to get some more veteran players back, that consistency will kind of pick up a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm proud of the way we fought and proud of the way we're playing. And there's no bigger game than we played this year than this week against Kansas City.
Final question.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, just to kind of sum up his comments, once again, he did not know about the death of Bill Belichick's father, Steve, either. So apparently no one in that locker room knew until after the game.
Yeah, I think Tom, as he always does, said it quite well. They're cutting and scraping right now. They're just trying to hold it together with gauze and chicken wire and maintaining. And again, I think that as we move our way through the last 6 or 7 ball games of the season, Bob, I think we've said from 3 weeks ago that they still look very, very good to win the division. Now, that may be damned by faint praise. Time will tell. But as long as you're in that spot and you can get some players back and heal up and coach up some of these young guys, maybe you got a decent chance to make some noise in the playoffs.
24-17 was the final here. We're going to come back and take a look at who you voted for player of the game. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
The Patriots game highlights are brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots 5th Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling cars and trucks in New England.
Well, Numi, there you go. William McGinnis, 22% player of the game, and a justifiable victor in the minds of the fans.
I like it.
Brady
deserved it.
And Watson, had excellent games as well. Deion Branch didn't crack the top 3, but had a great game as well. And we show you some McGinnis video because he was all over the field.
Again, and that was classic, just playing off the tight end and going down the line and making the stop. And here the pressure from Brooks, and then you see Joe Horn wide open, but because McGinnis is in Aaron's face, forces the premature throw and the incompletion. Willie just was everywhere today. I thought one of his more productive games was a sack from the backside. The 12-year veteran out of Southern California riding the wave of the Trojans, and Pete Carroll doing a good job himself here today against the New Orleans Saints. One thought I had about this week, Bob, and that is, although Bill didn't mention, obviously, the death of his father before the game, you know, we the media do a very good job at picking up on these win one for the Gipper stories. And whether Bill likes it or not, with Dante Scarnecchia, I think, at the helm for the first few days of practice this week, Bill may be back the day after Thanksgiving or whatever. I do think there will be an inevitable storyline to this upcoming game against the Chiefs that the Belichick death will be influential somehow in the players' preparation for this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Bill may not want it that way, but I know how the press works. I know how they can latch onto a story. I know how they can make it sing. And I think the players will prick up on the fact that Dante will be, he'll be running the practices, formulating a lot of the game plans. It'll be a different dynamic. And I do think that will be an underlying storyline in the run-up to the Chief game.
And especially in this holiday week of Thanksgiving, when it's such a family holiday, it's even more so. All right, happy Thanksgiving to you and to all of our viewers. Thanks for being with us tonight. The Patriots hang on, pull it out 24-17, whatever you will tonight on Sports Final. We have this recap. Roosevelt Colvin in the studio with Steve Diassi, Michael Felger, and Bob Ryan. Robert Parrish,
the Chief.
The Chief will be joining us tonight. How about that? If only he could play. We'll be right. Well, no, we won't be right back.
Saying goodbye.
We'll be right back next Sunday on CBS 4 because we got game day, Patriots Chiefs in the 5th quarter on CBS 4 right after the game. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you for watching New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter.